Well, the warning on yesterday's video exactly played out like we predicted. Right now, Bitcoin is gearing up for an even bigger move, and with right now also the $16 billion in FTX cash distributing back to its creditors, which will be happening at the end of May, we are expecting even more buy pressure is returning towards the market. Today is also the day that potentially we are going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the first state in the United States of America. And over the last 3 days, we have seen record inflows on the spot Bitcoin ETF. What does this mean for the market right now? What does this mean on the larger perspective? And I'm gonna be exactly break that all down on today's update video. So a lot to discuss on today's update video. Don't forget to once again slap up the like button. Back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards the imminent short term. So on the imminent short term, Bitcoin is once again creating a CME gap over the course of this weekend. This time around, it was around $94,638. This weekend, we of course already filled up the CME gap, so nothing to really worry about that anymore. But of course, last night here, while I was asleep, Bitcoin did saw a slight little dump, and then it moved towards the upside again here. So interesting price action. Yesterday, I did warn you about what the possibilities are on the imminent short term right now, because on the imminent short term on Bitcoin, we were creating, of course, a bearish divergence. And of course, after I mentioned that in the video of yesterday, I talked about the warning and about where Bitcoin potentially could be heading towards. We did move towards the downside ever so slightly. From 95,000, we went down to $93,000, but already Bitcoin shows a lot of strength and is returning towards the upside. So I want you to know that indeed these patterns could be playing out on the imminent short term, but on the bigger perspective, like I also mentioned on yesterday's video, I am ultimately still very bullish on this trend here, because Bitcoin has flipped, of course, above the most important and critical levels in the market. And if we are going to be seeing a move towards the downside, I am expecting that around 90 to 91,000 US dollars, the major support for Bitcoin will be found. So if we are going to see a dump, that is where the big support level is going to be found. And of course, as soon as Bitcoin is going to be clearing the 95 to 96,000 US dollars level, which is of course slightly laying above us right now here, which is also corresponding with the exact low in the market right here. If we do break and confirm the break above that level, we are going to be seeing the next target around 102,000 US dollars. So these levels, guys, you should be taking very seriously, because Bitcoin always moves in ranges. This is just what I learned from my past 7 years of trading. And if we right now are going to be seeing a confirmation above the break of $96,000, the likely continuation is going to be happening up towards 100,000 US dollars, which of course is that previous low in the market right here. So very interesting price action corresponding right now here. At the same time, we did saw the death cross, and just like the last 3 times this happened, every single time whenever the death cross occurs on Bitcoin, it actually equals one of the best buying opportunities in the market. So that is actually very interesting. And of course, I mentioned it whenever it happened, but make sure to subscribe to the channel right now, because whenever this is going to be happening the next time, I will be obviously mentioning this again here. So very interesting. And at the same time, while we are looking at the imminent short term, it is a new week, and of course, likely we're going to see very strong ETF flows once again here, because the last 3 days from the ETF flows were actually one of the strongest 3-day inflows we've ever seen, actually. And I mean, the last time this happened was in April, and from that point, whenever we start to see such high inflows, Bitcoin bumped over 25%, which is of course absolutely insane. But also this morning, I tweeted about a reminder that at the end of May, which is going to be happening in literally 1 month from now on, there's going to be another $16 billion in cash distributed to the FTX creditors. So that is going to be, of course, absolutely massive. It is going to be absolutely insane. And this is most likely, once again, allowing, of course, altcoins and potentially Bitcoin to flourish even more, because the consensus is that the people that are receiving this money are already exposed to Bitcoin. So probably they're going to use their recovered funds to accumulate more Bitcoin, but then, of course, not on the FTX exchange or any other exchange. So, and also today is the day that Arizona could potentially become the first strategic reserve state in the United States of America if the law is going to be passed. So it's going to be a big day in Arizona. And of course, if this passes, we are likely going to see, of course, all these other states as well going to have these strategic state reserves. So that is going to be, of course, super excited. And also today, of course, the stock market is once again going to get opened. And of course, we do know the stock market is highly correspondent with Bitcoin as well. So we're going to be looking closely at that. At the same time, Bitcoin is just exactly following the liquidity path. And of course, if we're going to be still believing in the liquidity path for Bitcoin, we are expecting that Bitcoin is going to be seeing even a bigger continuation towards the upside. But then, of course, talking about the breakout, I mean, as long as Bitcoin is not breaking the major uptrend, which we're currently creating, which you can see over here on this chart, you can see Bitcoin is trading on a weekly uptrend. It is creating higher lows corresponded with higher highs. And as long as this trend continues, Bitcoin is just going to be seeing, of course, higher levels. And of course, as soon as Bitcoin is going to be breaking this legendary support line, I do think we're going to be seeing a big breakdown. As soon as Bitcoin is going to confirm a lower high in the market, so let's say we create a top of information, we break below this low right here, I would start to call for, of course, a bear market, and it would start to call for, of course, an even bigger continuation towards the downside. But as long as this is not happening, I don't believe we need to be worrying all too much here. I mean, all in all, we're just seeing another major breakout on the bigger perspective, like we have seen in the last 3 times as well in this market. So honestly, I am super excited for that here. I still have my trades open, and to give you a clear opinion about what I am targeting for my Bitcoin and Ethereum trade, you can see it over here. You can first of all also copy my exact trade, so then you actually don't even have to know here. If you want to be copying my trades, you can go to the link description of today's video, copy my Bitcoin bot or my Ethereum bot, whatever you prefer, and you can copy my exact trading strategy. But personally, my targets for my trades here, I mean, I've been accumulating my long position on Bitcoin, $81,000, so that's going to be the low right here, and I've been accumulating along the way down with grid trading bots here, and my sell target is going to be around the all-time high, which is $110,000. Then for Ethereum, my sell target is going to be $2,500, which of course from off this point is still quite a high level, big level higher. But if we're going to be looking at the bigger things of it all, it went down from $4,100 all the way down to, what is it, like $1,400. I think it's still a very good buy here, but I do not believe we're going to be probably hitting new all-time highs. So my target is $2,500 to get fully out of my position. Maybe I consider to still hold some spot here, but of course I will be evaluating that around that time here. But you can see this level over here is a major level for Ethereum, and I do think it's a great zone of taking profit. So this is what I'm aiming for Ethereum. You can see it also over here. $2,500 is my target. Of course, if we do hit that target, I will be already locking in already be locking in tens of thousands of profits on this trade here. So that is exactly what I'm currently doing here. I mean, still the dollar index is right now breaking below its support level and is likely going to continue. And ultimately that really shows us that probably altcoins are still going to be flourishing. And on Ethereum, we are playing out this exact fractal right now here. I've talked about it many times here, why I do believe Ethereum is a better trade than Bitcoin right now here. It is heavily undervalued at this moment of time on the MVRV Z-score. It is heavily undervalued on most metrics. The total cryptocurrency market cap is bottoming right now, creating a triple bottom. It is breaking above the major downtrend on the Ichimoku clouds. And also we're just sitting at the legendary support line. So very excited in my opinion. I think great times are going to come right now here. And if we're just looking purely at Bitcoin and fundamentally speaking, and at some on-chain data, we are right now seeing a lot of interesting things here, that a lot of whales have been actually accumulating Bitcoin while the prices has been going down here. And the change in whale holdings has been massively increasing. And like you can see on this chart, whenever this goes up, we usually tend to see bigger and higher prices on the market. And whenever this goes down, we usually tend to be in a bear market situation. So super excited for that. Can't wait to see how it plays out here. Ultimately, I'm super excited about Bitcoin. Ultimately, I do think we're going to be seeing a bigger continuation higher. We're having that bullish crossover on the MACD, and historically on the 3-day time frame, whenever the MACD crosses bullish, it has always literally corresponded with another rally higher. And I of course spoke highly about this whenever this happened. At that time, no one was willing to listen, but actually from that point onwards, Bitcoin went from $82,000 already to $95,000. So that was already a major 15% move towards the upside. So guys, this is exactly what I'm expecting. I think realistically speaking, Bitcoin could be in for a major rally if we of course break above $96,000. If you learned something from this video, don't forget to slap on that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.